please fill them out. They will be collected on the door. Like, I will physically stop you from leaving if you haven't turned one in.
He's really not kidding. He really will.
Because you get such a better response rate when you do that. And if you aren't here, haven't been to Capital Factory before, restrooms are straight ahead from the elevators where you came in. Past the front desk, men's are on the left and women's are on the right. Things we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about resources primarily for UX, UI, and graphic design. We're going to talk about the 3 major design associations in town. We're going to talk about resources for learning design. We're going to talk about resources for hiring designers, and we're going to give you guys plenty of time for Q&A and networking afterwards. Design-related meetups we don't have slides for include all of these wonderful things. If you like more than just UX and UI, and you like design in general, if you like art, if you care about other kinds of things in technology, we're not going to be talking about any of that stuff today because Austin is a city. It does have a large art and design community. There are all kinds of things that you could be doing, but well, we have like 45 minutes to talk with you, and this would get super boring. That said, there are all these things out there. There are meetups for all of these things. They're not just random words I put up here. They are available for you to seek out and find. Other things we don't have slides about. A lot of these came up in feedback from the last time we did this talk, like how to find freelance work, where to find freelancers for one-off and piecemeal things, where to find designers willing to do market research, user research, or product design solely for equities, and I'm not going to pay you. Yeah, I can talk about that. One of the questions that came up is, what's a good agency to hire in town? What agencies and studios are good to work for, and how to magically change your company culture to respect design. We can talk about some of that stuff in the QA if you want, but none of these are the things we're going to be covering in the slides themselves. So, any questions before we start? No? Great. Welcome to Intro to the Austin Design Community. Annette?
Oh, am I taking over?
Yes,
okay.
That's it.
I
did the housekeeping stuff.
Are we tagging?
Sure. Things we're going to be talking about.
So we've got this split up into a couple of different chunks. So we're going to get started with some resources in the community, some different groups, what they're about. We're going to switch into, if you're new to design, if you are interested in becoming a designer, some resources and things you should know about. And if you're already working in design and looking to hire designers, some other things that you should be aware of. So community. So Austin has a long and storied history with design. We've seen some ups and downs over the years, some booms and some busts. And it's interesting, we're in a bit of a renaissance right now. There's this lovely influx of population. Austin remains a very young city, and that's really a wonderful thing when it comes to design and innovation, that our demographics stay pretty young. We've always got new, fresh blood coming to town. So that's great. There is a little bit of danger is a strong word, but there's a potential negative impact to that as well. So the great thing about having new people and young people coming to Austin all the time, we've got a vibrant community. People are starting their own meetups. That's awesome, but it does tend to fracture the community a little bit. So we've had ups and downs with all of this. The main groups are the Interaction Design Association, formerly UPA, now UXPA, UX Book Club, and Austin UX. And so those have all started or restarted around the same time. We're only covering the more recent history of the past 10 years or so, but it goes back far longer than that. And so now we've got the AIGA meetup, the AIGA Austin chapter rather, a flash meetup, design and media meetup, and a web design and development meetup, and Refresh Austin have all kind of merged into one thing. Right, Victoria?
Yeah.
So you keep me honest. We did a little good cop, bad cop last time. I'm not sure who's playing good cop this time, so this is going to be exciting to figure that out. So really, community is what you make of it. So it's up to you to kind of explore and try out the different groups and find your tribe, find the people and the ideas and the personalities that resonate with you and your own particular goals for your career development and professional development. These are loose, informal groups. So nobody is going to berate you about, you didn't make it to the last meeting. And you want to sign up for these mailing lists and be aware of what's on the calendar and try to go to the things that you can go to. So the broader your network, the easier it's going to be for you to kind of cross-pollinate and get good hooks into different companies and different ideas. Victoria?
So yeah, so you get out of it, you get out of being part of these meetups what you put into them. So if you're new to Austin, it's easy to find a meetup like Fresh to Design in Austin. Fresh to Design in Austin, which is a meetup just for people who are new to design and new to Austin, just to get together. And it would be really easy for you to make a bunch of friends and then that to be the only meetup and only friend group that you ever make. Like, Austin's really convenient like that. But at the same time, as those designers grow, as you grow in your career, you're going to miss out on all of the other opportunities that you have out there. It's not just about socializing and finding friends, it's also about professional development. It's about how you're going to get better in your career. And that leads to things like job hunting and hiring. And that's why we don't necessarily talk about how to find freelance clients or how to get a job, because that comes as a natural outgrowth of the contacts you make in the community. Well, who's looking for work? Well, I heard so-and-so. Well, you should go talk to them, and because I know you, I will recommend you to them. That's the way business is still done here in Austin. There's no one place, there's no one location.
Your network is personal. It's highly personal. So the more people you know and the more companies those people are at, the better your success will be, the easier things will be for you.
And Austin is a young community. It's also still a very small community in the sense that it's pretty easy to find somebody who works somewhere that you know one or two connections away in order to find out exactly what that work environment is like. And so when you don't do well at a place, that tends to come out too very quickly.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. But it's a big thing. There's no one place, right? So I talk about the Austin UX.org site. That's a calendar I manually curate by going through 20 or 30 different meetups to find relevant events. There's no one place to go to find designers or design forums to socialize with, to get critiques from, to collaborate with. And there's no one place to go to hire them. So it really is about how much legwork you are willing to put forward.
But that's a good thing, right? Because if you're decentralized and you're partaking of these different groups, you're going to have a more eclectic exposure in terms of the topics that you're working on, the things that you're learning about, and the people that you're getting to know.
It is work. I mean, like, it's fun and it's good and you grow as a person, but it's a level of professional effort that you do have to maintain. And that's why, so this talk is called Intro to the Austin Design Community. But I argue in a paper I wrote a few years ago that there is no such thing as the Austin Design Community, because it is all of these little tiny insular groups that don't necessarily work with each other or talk with each other.
So that concludes our talk. Thank you.
I made that joke last time. I just want to say that.
Does that mean I'm the bad cop?
A loose collection of hundreds, dozens or even hundreds of micro communities. It really is up to you to network to find all of them.
We sound like bacteria. Little colonies.
So let's talk about the big three. So the three largest design organizations in town are IXDA, UXPA, and AIGA. They all, IXDA and UXPA both had a renaissance around the same time, 2008, 2009. And rather than us talk about it this time, we're going to invite people from those meetups actually to come tell you about it. We'll start with IXDA. Tori?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Tori Breitling. I have been basically running the local Austin Interaction Design Association chapter starting around, I guess, 2007, 2008. We're up to over 1,500 members. So that's quite a few. I think actually we have one of the largest tech groups in Austin, period. Not everybody's active, of course, but that's a pretty good group. The local chapter they're all volunteer run, they're all over the United States. The national organization, which has about 80 or 90,000 people, is actually a global organization. There's no fees to to join all the events that I do so far, I have been able to do free because a lot of the designers, the big designers, the known designers in the community nationwide were part of the birthing of the Interaction Design Association, you know, like 7 or 8 or 9 years ago when it really got it started. So a lot of those people are really anxious to give back to the community, and so they will come. And I try to rope them in if they're in town for another event, or if they're in town for South by or whatever. But I try to run events that are with designers that you may have known, or a big organization in town, like, you know, the creative director for Tell Me Not or something like that. I'm skipping. I'm not really going by these slides, so this will be fun. But
you have to aim at the computer.
You can joining the website that we're on is a Ning site, and you might be a what site? That's because back when I started it, Ning was the only platform that actually did what I needed it to do. There was no Meetup. So I kind of regret that now because it's so ugly. But you know, whatever.
It's retro.
Yeah. But it's free to join. Talking about jobs, I do try to keep get people to post on the job board. So there are jobs that get posted there that you may not see elsewhere. So if you're looking, I definitely recommend creating an RSS feed so you can keep track of that. Because I will specifically go out, and if I see a job like on Craigslist or something like that, I'll send them an email. I'll say, hey, post on this site. So be sure to check for jobs. We have events that are pretty irregularly held. That's because I pretty much am the only one who does it full time. I've had help over the years, but I kind of do it as things as I can, and as speakers sort of turn up in my stream that I can wrangle to help out. I do focus on user experience and interaction design, try to make them really practical to you. These are a few of the ones we had in mobile cases. This is about 2 years ago. Mobile case studies from Tell Me Not. That was pretty good. It was all these mobile stuff work that they were doing to try to figure out how to get people to use coupons and the lessons that they learned. It was a really great talk. We had a product strategy from John Caldwell. He's a really smart guy in town. Written a couple of books. I recommend checking him out. And then most recently, Aaron Young did a panel on how to recruit for your own usability tests. I actually have the next event that I'm working on, and I haven't scheduled yet, but it should be late in July. It's going to be with Teresa Neal, who's an O'Reilly author. She actually lives in Dripping Springs, but she keeps a very down low profile in town. But she wrote the book on mobile patterns and is basically the mobile pattern person in the United States. So sign up for the list so that you'll see when that happens. We have lunches every other month. Who's hosting those now?
Jeff Maria and Inga DeVlieker, and the next
Right.
one is this coming July 1st.
And those are usually at the Central Market Cafe on Lamar in Central Austin, near UT.
That's a very unintimidating environment. If you just kind of want to come and meet some people, it's super casual. You just bring some lunch money, find a table, sit down, and people will start talking to you. So it's really easy and really fun. It's usually about, maybe 8 up to 20 people if things get really crazy. And then every once in a while I have the designers with drinks when if I find a company that wants to get some visibility into the design community, like there's a company I'm working on now that is going to do a new social platform and they want to get exposure, I'll try to talk them into sponsoring a happy hour. And that's always a good time. You just come and drink on their time. Nothing wrong with that, right? And talk shop or whatever you want. So that's good. Our membership, and Venus is responsible for these numbers. I did not verify whatsoever.
This is just a broad idea of basically presented.
Probably right.
40% designers, 40% manager directors, execs, 20% everyone else. That sounds about right. Let's see if you attended an IXD event for the first time. most everybody's like 75% members. I'm not sure what that means. What do you mean?
Of the
consider themselves members of the local.
Of the local group,
yeah.
Right. And most attendees are not also members of the parent IXDA organization, which is also fine. It's a much harder mailing list to keep up with if you want to try though. That's me. Membership and sponsorships go to me. That's the website, IXDAustinning.com. We also have a Twitter account, which I'm not that great with, frankly. I need somebody like Annette to run it for me. She's so super great at Twitter. But
who knew?
Yeah. But I do occasionally will post jobs. And I always post events, but sometimes other things too, jobs. So it's a IXDA, Austin IXDA?
Yeah, it's the other way around. It's Austin IXDA.
Yeah, because it read the other way. So Austin IXDA is a Twitter handle. So I think that's it, right?
Thank you, Tori.
Great. Thanks, Tori.
Okay. So Tori's a great example of a charismatic leader of one of these local design organizations. And she's also a fine example of what some of the challenges have been in terms of the Austin design community. So we've had this ebb and flow with different design organizations in the community for years. And part of it is that we get somebody who has some energy and some drive to create something like this, and then a lot of responsibility falls on that person. Well, if that person has a family emergency, a parent that gets sick, something else, right? Things start falling apart. You need a support system as part of that. So please get involved with these local organizations. Please offer event ideas when you know somebody is coming to town that you have a personal connection with. Help your local leaders run events. Do you have a company that wants to hire some folks or has some marketing budget? Get in touch with them and sponsor an event. So make sure you're giving back to the community as much as you're getting out of it. So from UXPA.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Rhea Taylor. I've been associated with UXPA for about 1.5 years-ish, sort of. But we are just a local chapter. But we are a group actually close to about 700 members, and we primarily communicate through Meetup.com. So all you have to do is literally sign up for Meetup.com and sign up for our group, and you'll get information about different things we do. And sometimes jobs are posted, sometimes different things are posted, mostly meetups though, and then communication about different things associated with those meetups. But we do all sorts of different kinds of things. Most of our meetups are educational. So we have started doing a lot more like social meetups and things like that for happy hours and stuff. And then we're also trying to do a few more, like make efforts as a board to reach out and do like co-meetups with other types of organizations. As far as disciplines are concerned, we're really open, like anyone that works in UX. But I think, I don't remember what the percentage was, but I think it's something like, doesn't matter. I'll go back.
There we go. You go.
All right. So like, yeah, I think that's about right. So most everyone's associated with UX somehow or another, even if it's kind of distantly, but there's a lot of researchers associated, a lot of designers, some development, and then a lot of project managers and recruiters. And one cool thing about our meetups is we always allow space at the beginning of our meetup for people to say if they're hiring or if they're looking for a job. And that's been a really great resource for a lot of different people, and a lot of people got connected through that kind of communication. But I probably just put us in a horrible order. Yeah, so we meet. We meet mostly the first Tuesday of every month, but we also have other events. Like in July, we have 2 events, one like first Tuesday and then another one later in the month. It's kind of one of these co-meetup kind of events. And you'd be able to find more information because they haven't officially announced that yet on meetup.com when we do that, which I think will probably come later this week. But a lot of our events are, like I said, pretty much educational. So we had like a diary study workshop this past June meetup. We've had some, like Aaron Young gave a talk on AIGA, and then so it's everything. It's research methods, it's design strategy. We had a panel on, I think this was a while ago, maybe like project management around design. There's lots of different stuff, and there was an Athena Health talk, and usually we have different companies that host the events because we don't charge. So it's free to attend, it's free to be a member, quote unquote, by just signing up on Meetup, And but it does cost money to sign up for the national organization. I think it's like $69 or $70 or something like that to be part of the national organization. But you do not have to be part of the national organization to be part of the local meetup. So it's completely free and available for everyone, and it's open to anyone who wants to come. Oh, and like we had a design thinking workshop at IBM Design, which was really cool. Had a pretty big attendance. So usually the meetups are anywhere from like 30 to 70 people. It really depends on what's going on, whether it's like a social meetup or a hot topic in methods or something like that. So our board consists of like 5 to 7 people at any given time, usually elected around probably January, February is when we do that. And it's folks from all kinds of different disciplines that are on the board. And we try really hard to reach out to different kinds of speakers from different backgrounds. And of course, we try to host around the city. So we have some sponsors up north that we host with, and we also try to do some stuff downtown just to make sure that we can get some geographic dispersion among attendees. So again, you can find us on the meetup.com. It's really simple to find us. And then if you want to reach out, just do that through that site. So really straightforward. It's a fun community.
Thanks.
Thank you. I'm so glad you spoke to that in terms of distance. So Austin is a very geographically large city, right? And we're downtown right now, which is cool. But if you are living and working downtown, there's a whole other part of the city that you may not know exists. So up by the Domain, there's a lot of tech companies up there. You've got Apple and eBay. Further out in Round Rock, you've got Dell. There's companies out on Bee Caves and 360, so there's a lot of spread, right? And we've got East Austin developing too. We've got some places down south. And I don't know if you've heard, but Austin traffic is kind of bad. So if you are part of one of these organizations, please think about the other people in your city who may not live and work downtown and are in other places. And if you're in one of those other places, please offer to host occasionally with some of these groups so that we can disperse the events and be more inclusive of our community.
Speaking of being stuck in traffic, Owen, AIGA. So thanks, Owen.
I'm Owen Hammonds. I'm a vice president of the AIGA Austin chapter here in Austin. I'm also a lead facilitator and advisory designer at IBM Design. We love to support the groups like UXPA that came in. I remember that. That was awesome. That was an awesome group. But AIGA is a national organization. They break them up into chapters. Some states have multiple chapters, such as Texas, because Texas, just like Austin, is a very large city. So we actually have Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, Fort Worth, and El Paso, which is a brand new chapter that was added on in Texas. So we had the second largest chapters as a organization. But we here in Austin have about 600 paid members. It is a tiered membership, so we have like steps to our membership. But that doesn't mean that we don't. Everybody is welcome to come to our events. We have different. Some events are just totally free. Some of them are like, if you're a member, you get a discount. If you're not a member, you have to pay a little bit more. But we try to make everything as reasonable as possible so we can get people to participate in our events. Joining means joining the national part of AIGA. So when you do join, you're not just joining the local chapter here. You're joining and being a part of the national chapter, so you get access to a large of the same discounts as far as health insurance and Adobe software discounts and Mac discounts and all of these different types of things that the national chapter offers. And then some chapters, depending on where you are, offer like additional discounts as far as like partnerships that they may have with local organizations that they may partner with. I already talked about this. It's a tier membership. The lowest rate is $50 as a sustaining member, and it steps up from there. But you can get a lot out of that, just that entry fee to $50.
Other direction.
We have multiple events being held each month. During the summer, we kind of like take a break, so you may not see a lot of things out of us this summer, mainly because this is our time to reset and like get ready for the next year. We kind of go by the school year actually, because it just kind of works that way. It works great for us. We actually have a lot of students that are on our board that serve on our board as volunteers as well too, so it just works kind of that way perfectly. So we will start up again probably about like late August, beginning of September, with a lot more events going on. But a lot of our events focus on a vast variety of interest groups. So we're not just a visual design organization. We call ourselves more of a creative organization. So it's graphic design, printmaking, production design, UX. So a large breadth. Our membership is representative of not just the visual designers, but the breadth of like what is a designer, if you can think in the broad sense of like, if you can like graphic designer, interior designer, put designer after it, we probably like have had an event for that type of designer. Traditionally focused on interactive is really a new thing for AIGA. I'll be honest, that is something that we have neglected here in Austin. We are like have over the past couple of years been changing that focus and like really doing a lot more to service the technology industry in general. So and a large part of that is partnering with IBM Design, Dell, National Instrument, a lot of companies that have these technology focused marketing design teams. We're partnering with them or like having trying to tap into them to like have what can we do to help your team within your company. So we're trying to put on more events like that are more service of like UX design, UI design, design research, interactive web, intermedia, animation, and different areas like that. So that's an area that you're going to see us heavily focusing on for the next year, as I'm just rolling on as vice president. Kelly is my counterpart as president. We're going to be doing a whole lot more of servicing that arena because we have been neglecting it. So that's something, look forward to that. So breaking to UX with General Assembly, which was a great event that we had. That's Monday, thank you. Coming up, that is coming up. It got canceled because of the storm that didn't happen. But couldn't take chances. Creative Mass Happy Hour is our monthly event, so you will see this coming up, I think, in a couple of weeks actually. That's a great event for everybody. It's a free event. It's just a way to like come in, either have a drink or just grab some appetizer or something like that, meet your fellow design community or creative community, and just get to meet people. We have regulars that come to that event, but we always have like new faces in there, and they're very welcome. It's a great way to actually meet the board as well too. We encourage our board members to come and like meet the membership or just meet the community in general. Bowling tournament, which just happened a couple of weeks ago. It's a huge event that we have every year. It's about 150 people in the creative industry just coming out to form teams and bowl against each other. So it's a fun event. Local speaker series. The last one we had was with Tamara Valdez. That was a really surprising one for us because she is not really in the quote unquote design industry. She's in creative, but we had a huge turnout for that, which was something that we need to focus on as an organization to like just broaden our breadth of like who we're bringing in as guest speakers. We don't bring in a lot of national speakers. It's super expensive for those who are like with other organizations, like to try to bring in somebody that's really big from New York, Chicago, or from some of the big cities. We don't focus on trying to do that. We have a lot of awesome, great talent here in Austin, so why don't we bring them out and have them speak to you as in their creative experience as well too. So we focus mainly on like bringing and connecting you all to your local creative talent here. In UI UX speaker series with I cannot never pronounce their name. Funware, thank you. With Funware as well too. So we are like expanding our programming. Some of the other programming that we do, which is now turned from by every 2 years to every year now, is Design Ranch. It was so huge this year, we had 130 people on the wait list. So now it's like, duh, we just need to do this every year. So look forward to a sign up for that coming up in a couple of weeks probably for to sign up for that. That's every spring. And membership is about 75% design professionals, and again, design in the general sense. It's not just all visual. We have about in a handful of non-designers. We have copywriters, there are some interior, and there are some architects that I know that are on our that are part of our membership as well too. So it's a pretty broad membership. If you attend the AIGA event for the first time, there's nothing tomorrow. An even split of members and non-members. So don't go because you're not a member, or don't go because you may not know anybody. That's why we have these events, so that you can meet more people within your talent range. Smaller venues fill up. We have venues everywhere. As I'm sure everybody knows, and all the other organizations know, space is a premium here in Austin, so it's really hard to try to find a big enough space to have events. So if you know of any, please let us know, because I'm sure we will all love to know more venues in town here. We have a board. It's an elected board. We have about 20 people on our board, and it takes about all 20 of them plus another 20 more to get stuff done with all the events that we put on all year round. It's an elected board, so if you're interested in participating on our board or even just volunteering, please reach out to me, reach out to any of us on the board. Here's our membership contact. It's just membership at austinaij.org. Or if you're interested in development, and partnering with other events and things like that, you can reach out to our development as well too.
Awesome. Thanks. So yeah, so you saw the examples earlier. There are over 20 other design meetups in town that I track just from a UX standpoint. There are several big name agencies and firms that will host events or sponsor events, and lots of small studios and agencies that nevertheless do lots of different work. The thing we were talking about earlier, though, is that each of these meetups has its own audience.
Its own vibe, its own personality.
Yeah, and
its own style.
It's based on the people who show up, but also the kind of events that they hold, and it becomes this self-reinforcing cycle. It's up to you to visit other meetups on a regular basis, not only to learn new things, but to find new people and to be able to grow in your career.
So think of it like shopping for jeans. You got to try on a lot before you find your favorite pair, right?
And then you buy 6 of them. But eventually you still have to go find more later. These are some of those others, some of that more later, and we wanted to give you a bit of a taste of some of the other groups, the smaller meetups in town that do happen. This is the current list on austinux.org. I don't expect you to actually read it, but we brought out Lisa Woods from the Interactive Installation Meetup, and Christy from the Fresh to Design in Austin Meetup. Lisa, you've been standing, so why don't you come up here and talk, and then you can find a place to sit.
Too nervous to sit, I could do it. I don't have any slides, I just have some.
I don't have any slides for you, so.
Very good. So I'm Lisa Woods. I'm the organizer of the Austin Interactive Installation Meetup. It's quite a mouthful. I'm also an interaction designer. I know we'll be starting at Arco Design very soon. I started the meetup because I kind of saw a gap, right? We have a very eclectic, like I said, very dispersed community here. And who I really wanted to meet were other interaction designers that were really interested in emerging technology and art and physical computing. And so that's why I made this meetup, organized it about a year and a few months ago. So we're mature, I guess, in that sense. And the kinds of things that we talk about, geek out on, absolutely, are sensors like Arduino, based stuff, motors, LEDs, Internet of Things, robotics, drones, mind control software, computer vision, iBeacons, conductive paint, wearables, projection mapping, processing, and Max MSP, open frameworks, VVV. So these are things that people in the group either know about, want to learn about, or interested in collaborating with other people about. Maybe they have one skill set and they're looking for someone with the other skill set. We have designers and developers, artists, engineers, teachers, tech entrepreneurs, and museum exhibit designers in our group. People that are novices, people that are quite prolific in what they are good at. We're a very open and inclusive group. As far as the design community, we have designers from IBM and Chaotic Moon, 1323, Razorfish, Project 202, the UTMFA program, Spread Fast, Frog, Retail Meetup. So you won't, as designers, you won't feel out of place with all these engineers and developers and artists. And our programming, which we've been doing, started off basically show and tells and happy hours, which is just a great way to kind of meet each other and kind of just start seeing what skills and what interests people have. We've kind of expanded to kind of do more group projects. So as a team, we brought something to the, I forgot what it was called now, shoot. The Mini Maker Fair, the Austin Mini Maker Fair. So we created a projection mapped interactive installation for that as a team, which was a great experience. And also we share opportunities for art grants, rep opportunities. A lot of these works kind of don't have a place in Austin. There's not galleries that like to show them. And so when we find those spots in Austin where we can show this work, we share that with each other. And lately we've been teaming up with Fusebox, which is a local arts organization, to bring in speakers. I think, as you guys mentioned, speakers, especially not local ones, are expensive. And Fusebox they've been around for about 12 years. They have a really expansive network. And so they're bringing in tech artists, both local, national, and international. So we're really excited to help them bring that. And as far as kind of upping our game, as far as knowing technology and learning more about it and collaborating with each other, we're going to start doing a series of hackathons that focus on the technologies I mentioned before. So love for any of you guys have any interest in any of those things to join us. We meet once a month at 7 p.m. the last Wednesday of the month, which happens to be tomorrow. So if you guys are interested, we're meeting tomorrow at 7 at the Austin Tinkering School, which is on Airport Boulevard. And if you can't make it tomorrow, please do sign up, because then you get announcements as to when we meet and kind of what the programming will be. Thank you.
And we have Christy from the Fresh to Design in Austin.
Yeah. Okay, hi everyone. My name is Christy Okada, and I started this meetup called Fresh to Design in Austin, or in ATX. And what it is, it's for new designers or like entry-level designers to have a place to meet. And the reason that I started this meetup was just because I noticed that there's this lack of community among the younger or like the newer generation of designers, and I wanted to create that community. And so I just created this group on Facebook, and then I invited all my friends and told them to invite all their friends. But I would love all of you guys to join too. So right now we're actually gonna have a happy hour this Thursday at Sidebar, and we're doing monthly happy hours. And right now it's kind of more of a social event or a social group, but hopefully in the future we'll do kind of more educational oriented events. And we're thinking about partnering with different design organizations in Austin to do that. And so if you want to find the group, if you want to join, it's on Facebook. You should come to me for the link, or if you're part of the General Assembly UX course, I'm going to send the link to Diana and she'll send it out to all of you. But if you're not part of the course, you can just come to me after this and I'll invite you to the group. So yeah, this Thursday, first happy hour at Sidebar, and it's going to be at 6 o'clock. So I hope I see everyone there. Thank you.
Thanks. As we mentioned earlier, I track a lot of these things on Austin UX. And one of the things that came up last time is, well, all of this stuff is great, but I don't ever want to leave my house to talk with other designers. And we didn't have a good answer last time. And not leaving your house is not a great way to participate in Austin in general. I feel like you miss out a lot when that happens.
We don't blame you in July though. July and August.
July, August, okay, fine.
Yeah.
The rest of the
1000.
year. Yeah. Recently, Refresh Austin has started up a Slack, an online chat group. There is a design talk channel. Do you wanna say something about it?
Oh, yeah, no, it's I'm William Yarbrough. I help run Refresh Austin. It's sort of a generic Slack channel for designers, developers, writers, etc. But the design channel specifically is probably the one with the most activity, and we share sort of links, general community help. It's sort of taking over for some what our Google groups used to be. But I encourage everyone here to join it. Let us know, and just slack.refreshaustin.org. Sign up, it's super fast, and then get started talking. You'll be automatically added to a few other groups too, like jobs and things like that. But it's a really good resource to just kind of talk to other designers really, really quickly throughout your day.
But Refresh also meets in Meet Space as well.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. The second Tuesday of every month at Buffalo Billiards at 7 o'clock. We'll generally have a couple talks each month. So.
And it's not design focused, it's broader than that. Yeah.
Refresh Austin is the big general purpose web meetup from which so many other meetups have grown. But we keep up with them because they are one of the largest meetups, and it is one of the best places to meet a really wide variety of people as a result. There's also the designer hangout.co community. It's a general user experience community Slack group. There is a local _Austin channel in that that a lot of the same people are on both of those channels, and they both just sit there and nobody talks to each other. So.
Way to sell it, Victoria.
I like to think it's because they're all working really hard or meeting in person.
You're back to bad cop. How did that happen?
I don't know. We'll fix that in a minute. So you want to be a designer. Design is a studio art. It means you do something and then somebody yells at you about it, and then they make you throw your work away and then you have to do it over again. You don't learn and get better at design unless you actually practice design. And so a lot of the meetups will offer one-off classes or one-off workshops, and that's great to get a taste of something. That's great to understand what something's better about. That's not a great way to become an expert at that thing, because there's not enough time to, no meetup like UXPA doesn't host a usability workshop every single month or every other week or something like that in order for you to constantly get that practice in. They host a usability testing workshop like once every 6 months. It's not enough for you to get critique to improve. And so if you're not able to find that time to get critiques and to get that practice in that work, I believe it's a professional responsibility you have to find that in the community, to find people to mentor you, to find people to continually review your work on an ongoing basis. That said, especially as the people from General Assembly here today know, there are resources to learn this stuff in the community. We mentioned John Kolko earlier. He runs the Austin Center for Design. He couldn't be here today, but he saw this need in the community. He teaches not just interaction design, but also social entrepreneurship. He wants you not just to become a really good designer as an in-house designer in a big firm. He wants you to become the designer that designs a product that benefits society as a whole. He wants you to create things that are social goods. It's a year-long program, nights and weekends. He also has a 10-day intensive for executives. There are other places to learn, like, for example, at the Iron Yard. Sam, you want to come up? Say something about it?
Sure. Hi, I'm Sam from the Iron Yard. We are a code and design school here in Austin, but we're also in, last I counted, about 16 other cities in the US, and last week also announced London as a campus that we're opening at. So from a global and then shrinking back down to Austin, we have classes in JavaScript, Ruby on Rails, .NET, other ones I can't even remember right now because my mind just went completely like iOS development, Android development. Like, there's just a lot. And they're all 12 weeks, standard $12K for the 12 weeks, including career support for as long as you need it, and staff that are kind of around and very active in the community. And also the network of having like, hey, I'm moving to Austin. Sam, can you take our Atlanta people around to a meetup? Like, Dribble or something like that, and it's something that we have a network for. So that's it from the global side. I teach the design class here in Austin. We're in week 5. A couple of my students are here from there. And I'm also the director of instruction for all of our however many campuses that we have now that I can't keep track of, just like our classes. And we're covering, like, day 1, we're jumping into HTML, CSS, the command line stuff, just to get that out of the way so that we can build with it whenever we need it. And we're also doing Photoshop, Illustrator, branding, brand identity design, UI, a little bit of UX, a little tad, and really focusing on a lot of the design system, design thinking type of stuff. Our campus hosts a lot of meetups at our own campus, or we sponsor a lot of them, like ATX SAS, which happens in this room. And we work a lot with our advisory board and hiring partners that include IBM and FunSize, Sputnik, Design, trying to think of some other ones that I'm all going blank, Microsoft, Thoughtbot, who we use a lot of their code from GitHub to help us build our sites. They come in and talk to us once a month. Retail Me Not's coming by tomorrow. So we try to give our students like a super well-rounded experience and kind of bring the Austin community to them as they're kind of going through the like hard skills part and also bringing in the community in the soft skills part. So you have questions about the Iron Yard, come find me after, and I can give you any information you need. I think that's it. I don't think I forgot anything.
Besides the stuff you already didn't forget.
Yeah, besides the stuff I couldn't remember of all the different locations. The ironyard.com has all of that info. We're the Iron Yard on Twitter as well. And if you're like, hey, what was that thing you mentioned, that class that you didn't remember? I'm just SAMKAP, SAMCAP on Twitter. And that's the best way to find us. And we're at Penfield, so we're a little bit out of downtown, but free parking is awesome.
Yes, it is.
All right.
Thanks. And then in vicious competition for the Iron Yard is General Assembly. Richard, you want to? I don't know where Diane went.
She had to leave.
Oh, sorry.
It's just me. I'm Richard Anderson. I'm one of the instructors of the current cohort of the User Experience Design Immersive course at General Assembly. It's a 10-week full-time course. That means 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. More than 8 hours a day? More than 8 hours a day. We're in week 3 of the current cohort. This is a program that is designed to yield new designers, so people that take the course who are interested in transitioning into a new career, and that career being, of course, as a user experience designer. Rumor has it that there might be some people in attendance who have experience as a student of this program. Is that right? Anybody can raise your hand? So these are the people to talk to after this thing is done, so that you can learn more about what it's really like in the program as a student. I've heard that it's really good.
Annette teaches our part-time course as well.
Yes, indeed.
We just finished a 12-week program, and we have graduation this Friday, Saturday?
That's right, Friday evening. Yeah.
Friday.
So, Mandy, is there anything else I should say?
No, that's fine. Okay. We're in 14 different cities worldwide.
Oh, that's right.
Launching a few more cities coming up to be determined, to be announced. Yeah, that's it.
Locally, we're just a block and a half away at 600 Congress.
Yeah.
And maybe just refer to this, I couldn't hear you, but I don't know the date of the next User Experience Design Immersive course, when it starts. Has it been determined yet? I don't think so.
It has.
Yeah.
But you can go on the website and find out. We also have a Best of General Assembly offering this Saturday. It's a bunch of free classes, Intro to UX, which Richard teaches, will be one of those offerings. So if you want to get like an introduction and you want to jump into it, it is a free offering on one of our classes that's usually paid.
Yeah, how many 1 hour things happen on Saturday? How many?
We're doing eight free classes. So we're running 2 classes in both classrooms all day. So like Intro to Digital Marketing, Intro to UX, getting started with WordPress,
A lot of cool things, and it's free.
Actually, I think the Intro to UX might be sold out.
Oh.
Yeah, I was just looking into it.
Okay.
It's a terrible problem to have.
Yeah.
But come to the other stuff. The other stuff is
So
good too.
quickly.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. There are other more traditional ways to learn design in town too. The UT School of Information has graduate level courses. You don't really want to audit classes because then you don't have to do the homework, which sounds great, but then you don't get the practice that we talked about. So you really have to matriculate as a non-degree student to do that. The UT College of Fine Arts has a BA in design. That's a full bachelor in design. You get to learn all the different media. Austin Community College has courses through their visual communications program. The kinds of courses vary widely, semester to semester, campus to campus. So you may not be able to take the course you want that semester. You may have to wait till it's offered, at a campus near you or a different semester. But it's very inexpensive. It's $85 a credit hour. Your turn.
So you need to hire a designer. Oh,
we can breeze through this.
You just kill your presentation completely, and that's how you start. So I'll let Victoria bring that back up.
Sorry. And we can breeze through this. We don't have a lot of hiring people. We don't have a lot of people hiring in the Honest today, so we can breeze through this if you want.
Hiring designers. Let me get a little closer and make sure this works. Yeah. So Austin is a lot like other cities and very different from other cities. So there's what you might expect, and then there's the reality of the Austin job market. So we're in a bit of an upswing, and it's a designer's market right now, which is great, but don't get too difficult and too much of a diva, because it's not always going to stay this way. We've seen things come and go. So please make sure that you are always professional and taking care of your network and being just a good egg in general.
Burn your bridges in secret.
It is a very small town, and word does get around about if you're easy or difficult to work with, if you're talented or need some remedial skills.
Guess which one I am.
Blah, blah, blah. So it is an employee's market. It's a designer's market right now. So you can be a little bit choosy. That means if you're hiring, you might need to do a little bit more to court the talent that you're really looking for. We have lots of different disciplines within design. It's very important that you get clear and crisp and concise about what it is that you are looking for. We run into this issue with job titles often, where somebody's advertising for a UX designer, and what they really want is a UI developer, right? So there's all kinds of things like this. Your culture, your organizational culture, and the way that titles work within your specific company is going to have an impact on this. But make sure it's obvious what particular skills you are looking for that position, regardless of what that title is. Do you want to speak to junior designers, Victoria?
If you're taking classes right now and you're considering yourself a junior designer, this slide isn't meant to disparage where you are in your professional career. This is for a hiring manager to know that if I only want to budget for junior talent, I have to understand that you don't know everything yet, and that I also need to provide ways for you to grow as a professional and not just expect you to know everything already.
Right, and so the folks who do know everything and have been doing everything for a very long time, we tend to be a little spendy, but we're worth it. So we do have an issue too with people looking for unicorns, and sometimes a Pegasus too. Right? Everybody wants what they can't have. So we really need 3 different jobs, but we're going to just ask for one magical creature who's going to save us, right? So and we see this a lot, but just be realistic. Unicorns don't exist in real life, although I hear that they poop prolifically. So unicorn poop is all over the place. But you do want to be clear and crisp about what it is you're trying to hire for. Victoria?
And it means that when you apply to jobs, make sure you understand what they're asking for, so you don't walk into an environment that's going to be dangerous for you because you're not going to be able to deliver, or they're not going to be able to provide you with the professional support you need to grow.
So speaking to hiring, this next slide I like to sum up as, all right, all right, all right. So those of you who've seen Dazed and Confused might understand what I'm talking about. Designers in Austin don't need your job. They don't need your job. They're slacking. They're hanging out at Top Notch. Be a lot cooler if you did, right? They're hanging like McConaughey. And we've got this large percentage of talent here in town, but we are not like other cities in terms of ambition, right? Austinites tend to value creativity, independence, some control over their personal life. They want to go swim at Barton Springs in the middle of the day sometimes, right? And your corporate culture might be harsh and they're mellow. So how else would you sum this up?
I'm not going to argue with you. It's just why you'll see a lot of people, when you go out to meetups and you meet people, they don't work for Austin companies. They work entirely remotely. They work entirely for companies and entirely for clients that are outside of town, because a company that is in town wants you to work there. And that's not compatible with taking your dog for a walk at 2 o'clock in the afternoon for an hour. And we have lots of companies up north, and lots of designers don't want to deal with the commute, and that's entirely fair. And they don't have to. There's nothing that we can do to make that person drive an hour through traffic every way, each direction. There's nothing a company can offer that person to get them to show up, and that's something to take seriously.
So think about if you're having trouble hiring, the talent level that you're looking for. You might want to consider some remote work arrangement, so somebody, you know, doesn't have to come into an office regularly, but maybe only comes in once a week for meetings, that kind of thing. If you're flexible, you might have more success with that. And speaking to our why geography again, that last point, we're all over town, and likewise, that designer might not want to go from downtown to up north, or they might live up north where it's cheap and might not want to come downtown. So it works all different ways as far as traffic goes.
So again, we don't have a lot of people hiring in the audience today, but when you're going to look for work, look for places where they've made hiring the priority, where they've made courting you to be an important part of their responsibilities. A company that values design and values designers is also going to send not just an HR person out to go recruit you, but they're going to send a hiring manager out. They're going to send other people who you would be working with on that team out to those meetups to try to meet you, to try to talk with you. This is what it looks like when somebody wants you to come work for them, when it's valuable for you to go work for them, because they have put finding you as a priority in their job and their job responsibilities.
They make you feel special.
That's right.
So we've heard from lots of our design leaders in the community. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Some of the common challenges that the Austin design community is facing: finding space. Oh my God, it's so tough to find space, because if you find space, then you might want to charge for it, and then you're passing that cost on to your attendees, which might be cool, but might not be cool. And it's something that you have to do for every event. So the space that you had one month might not be available the next month. Management changes, all kinds of things there. Food and drink sponsors. If you've got a marketing budget, please, or a recruiting budget, please give back to your local organizations. Help them help you. Help them put on great events that you guys want to take part in, that you want to come to. And
look to work for companies that do these things, these companies that are active in the community and that are supporting you in this way. Annette talked about a lot of this earlier, that that every design group is unique and different and controls access to its own members, that each one of them is different. So not only do you have to participate on their mailing list directly, but if you want to hear about them, you have to subscribe to them. And if you want to get access to those memberships, you have to sponsor them. I wanted to call out two companies that have been very good locally. IDEAN started up, I guess, a year and a half ago now, 2 years ago now?
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So IDEAN started up a new studio in Austin, and immediately...
More than 2 years. Actually, they had a second-year anniversary party.
So they started...
Over 2 years.
So, and they immediately threw a housewarming party, and didn't just congratulate themselves for being here, but invited everybody they knew in the community. And they've done that a few times since then. They've hosted a couple local one-day design conferences, and they sponsor Meetup, and you can see and meet their staff all around town. They were immediately active from day one. Fun Size started out when Anthony got tired of working for other people, and now there's several people. There are like a whole bunch of people now. Yeah, and they all of them volunteer their time. They give workshops, they host events, they speak at events. They invite other designers from other companies into their office space just to hang out and work with them. And they host a podcast and they sponsor meetups. These are the examples of the kinds of communities, of the kinds of companies that are very supportive. Like these are the role models that we have in town that should be paying attention to. So
again, you get out what you put in. Hopefully, if you have come to this to get an introduction to the Austin design community, we have introduced you to the Austin design community. So this is a great time for you to make some connections, say hey, tell people what you think you're interested in terms of events, places you would like parts of town you want to meet up in, that kind of stuff, ideas you might have, ways you can help support them, and get out there.
That's right. That's all we got.
Any questions?
Don't be shy. Or be shy, and then I can leave.
Yeah, if you're super introverted, you can tweet us or something.
Anybody, anyway? No?
Okay, it's not a question,
okay.
but I'm just gonna say, so I was the person that I was hiring, and I just wanna say, I'm looking to hire an instructor. So maybe poach from, I don't know, General Assembly or the INR or something, but, so I just wanna clarify, an MFA degree is highly desirable. space is a problem, I would encourage you, those of you who run events, I'm a relatively new program head of design at UT and the College of Fine Arts. We have a lot of space in the evenings especially. We should talk. I think it'd be really great to be helping host some of those things. I don't know that I actually have the power to implement it. I think that there is some cost sometimes associated, but I just want to say, like, I'd be willing to explore the possibilities there. And then those things at UT, which does have a parking garage, right? Not ridiculously expensive.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
This is an example too of where the personal connection. So traditionally hosting at UT means having a UT faculty or staff member present at all times. So if you don't know somebody, it's hard to make that happen.
I can make that happen. Like that's a happen. It's more just the logistical, bureaucratic procedure part that's difficult.
So if there are no other questions, let me ask our community leaders to please put your hand in the air so folks can come say hey to you. Hey! Hey! And now put your hands together and face them. Thank you so much for coming out. And we'll stick around in case there's questions that you'd like to ask privately.
Yeah, there's refreshments in the back, and I will take the feedback forms before you leave.
Oh yeah. Bounce. Go be at the door. Thank you so much.